Amma, whenever I want to speak about you, my heart always overflows. When it comes to writing a message like this, words simply fail me. To a life where your songs have become my very breath, your music is a constant companion. Yet, deep inside me, a faint hope still lingers, wishing that the reality of you no longer being here is not true. Every time you mentioned that you never formally learned music from a guru, I thought to myself, you might not be a Tansen Amma, but you are a Baizu Bavra. You brought forth an entire Gharana, a school of singing, one that lives with you, yet will live on in this world through your songs. They may have been or will be singers who perform better than you before your time, alongside you, or after you. But there will never be another Janaki. There is only one Janaki, S. Janaki. To you, a song was never just a collection of musical notes or a mere waving of words. It was a tireless wave of emotions. It was a flowing river of song that anchored thoughts swaying between hope and despair, an incomparable musical torrent. And in that river, I am drifting. I was drifting and will continue to drift. From the private songs you sang in your very childhood and until your very recently, you held exactly same respect for every music director you worked with. When discussing those songs, there was always such an enthusiasm and joy in you. Even though you sang only a few songs for S. Rajesh Rao Garu, your songs for legendary filmmaker B.N. Reddy under the music direction of Rajesh Rao Garu turned out to be timeless drops of nectar. Masterpieces like Pagale Vennela and Pagalaite Doravera remain etched in gold. I once brought up your extensive journey with Maestro Pendyala Nageswarao Garu, asking you, Amma, you have sung for him from your very first song right up to the cinema of 1980s. In classic films like Sri Krishna Satya and Sri Kakulandra Mahavishnu Kada, you sang almost every single track, didn't you? You softly smiled and replied, Yes, but the last song I ever recorded for him, Ni Pera Vokaleka Ne Rayaleka, was unfortunately never released. During that recording session, Pendyala Garu expressed immense satisfaction, saying, Janaki perfectly brings to life exactly what is in music director's heart. Hearing those words brought you profound peace, you said. And when our conversation slightly shifted to T. Chalpatrao Garu, I mentioned, Amma, though you sang countless tracks for him in Telugu, my absolute favorites are your songs in Kannada film Mavana Magalu. You fondly recollected, yes, P.B. Srinivas Garu used to say that the song Avudo Avudo from that film was his absolute favorite. And what can anyone say about your magical duet Nane Veene Neene Tanti that you sang together? It was sheer bliss. Likewise, there were gems for Ashwadhama Garu, Master Venu Garu, and many others. Slightly, our discussions used to go to K.V. Mahadevan's music. I noted how beautifully you delivered hits across all South Indian languages. You agreed, adding, people naturally remember my songs for him from K. Vishwanath's movies the most. But the moment I reminded you of the songs like Malaya Pavanalu Vichi, your eyes lit up and you said, what a truly beautiful composition that was. We then reminisced about other linguistic gems like your soulful duet Podigamalai Uchayile with P.B. Srinivas in Tamil, and some other classic melodies from Kannada cinema. When it came to M.S. Vishwanathan, the hits were timeless. You humbly shrugged and remarked, whenever MSV raised the baton, I don't know how many songs I sang for him, but every single track we did together turned out beautiful. That Amma is 100% true. I used to tell you repeatedly, Amma, on the day I breathe my last, I want to leave this world peacefully, closing my eyes while listening to Ippadi Oru Taalattu Padava from Tamil film Our Girl, composed by MSV Sir, or Poojisalinde Hoogala Tande, composed by Rajan Nagendra, the great Rajan Nagendra duo in Kannada. Then you would gently scold me for speaking of death, but you would bring up the legend of M.S. Baburaj, where people would say he was listening to Taliritta Kinakal on his deathbed. Just hearing his name fills me with absolute ecstasy. The songs you sang for Baburaj, the great Baburaj, were not mere tracks, they were divine, transcendental experiences. ഒരു കൊച്ചു സ്വപ്നത്തിൻ സൂര്യകാന്തി അവിടെന്നൻ ഗാനം കേൾക്കാൻ താനെ തിരിഞ്ഞും മറിഞ്ഞും വാസന്ത പഞ്ചമിനാളിൽ. Merely recalling these titles gives me goosebumps. You nodded in agreement and shared. Every time a recording concluded, Baburaj would step out of his cabin, stand there amazed, and ask, Janaki, how do you manage to sing so beautifully? And you would always tell him that his tune was the true inspiration. And then I would confess my absolute obsession with your tracks composed by V. Dakshinamurthy, again in Malayalam, praising their incredibly high classical standards. You enthusiastically agreed, yes indeed, he was an absolute titan in classical music. I sang an immense number of heavy Carnatic classical songs under his direction. Yet, he could also craft breathtaking romantic melodies like Kannil Kannil Nokkirunal. You would also remember G. Devarajan noting, though I sang fewer songs for Devarajan, every one of them was a masterpiece. When I would bring A.T. Ummar's name, you remarked on him how seamlessly he carried forward the legacy of Baburaj's style. He created magnificent soft melodies, and his demeanor was just as remarkably soft spoken. I told you your works with Johnson Master felt deeply personal and unique to me. You validated this, noting, yes, his compositions always carried a beautiful, subtle Western touch. And speaking of the Western touch, you also fondly credited Shyam for creating numerous beautiful tracks specifically tailored for you, alongside other Malayalam stalwarts like K. Raghavan, R. K. Shekhar, M. K. Arjunan, Radha Krishnan, Cherry Amaldev, and many more. Amma, it was not just Malayalam, I would interject. In Kannada cinema, you gave absolute best of best hits to every single composer. You replied with a smile, yes, working with me brought them immense professional satisfaction. Giants like Rajan Nagendra and G.K. Venkatesh would actually halt their recording sessions and wait for my dates. On the other hand, when Vijay Bhaskar first played a tune, I would sometimes wonder, oh dear, what a kind of composition is this? But once the track was fully recorded, it would sound absolutely magnificent and challenging too. When asked about Hamsaleka's profound admiration for you, you smiled. Yes, he believed that every song I sang for him was destined to be a massive hit. You truly showered everyone with chartbusters in Kannada, whether it was M. Rangarao, Upendra Kumar, or great M. Venkatraju. We then discussed the legendary Bollywood composers who ventured south. You spoke of O.P. Nair's deep affection for you, recalling how affectionately he addressed you as Beta, and how happy and ecstatic he was during the recording sessions of movie Neerajanam. Your golden voice delivered pan India hits across Telugu, Tamil, and Hindi for legends like Lakshmikant Pyarelal. And your Telugu song for R.D. Burman was equally magical. You created multilingual magic for Usha Khanna and Bappi Lahiri, while Salil Chaudhary used your vocals to conjure pure, unadulterated miracles in Malayalam cinema. In the 1990s, you delivered consecutive blockbusters in Tamil cinema for Deva and Sirpi. Concurrently, you delivered spectacular musical hits for Madhavpedi Suresh, Vidyasagar, and the great duo Rajkoti. Looking back in 1980s, in Tamil cinema, you sang rare but beautiful melodies for Shankar Ganesh, and in Telugu, titans like K. Chakravarti, Ramesh Naidu, and Satyam relied on your voice to deliver back to back hits. Later, every single song you recorded for the younger A.R. Rahman created a massive musical sensation. Yet, above all the monumental achievements stands your work under the baton of Maestro Ilayaraja. Whether measured by sheer volume or unparalleled creative diversity, the songs you sang for Raja stand entirely peerless at the absolute summit of Indian music. What a staggering number of songs, what profound emotional depths, and what magnificent vocal modulations your voice delivered under his brilliant stewardship. It remains an immortal, unforgettable gift to musical lovers, a treasure that time can never erase, and one should always cherish forever. When I mentioned the names of lyricists, your face would light up. You would praise them deeply, saying they were such monumental, brilliant minds. How could they possess such incredible imagination? Back in those days, across all languages, they didn't just stitch words together mechanically. They played beautifully with raw, deep emotions. You considered it your absolute good fortune to have sung their words. Your humility extended even to your own artistic achievements. Whenever someone would praise you by saying, Janaki Amma, your voice adapts flawlessly and blends so seamlessly onto any heroine, you would quickly dismiss it as a mere illusion. You would tell me it is just a psychological trick. Whichever voice the audience is accustomed to hear regularly on screen for an actress, they naturally feel it is a perfect fit. You completely detached yourself from vanity. You never accepted a single ounce of praise that you felt didn't truly belong to you. Furthermore, you possessed an incredible professional empathy. If I would ever point out that a certain singer has mispronounced a word in a track, you would gently defend them and divert the focus. You would ask, why didn't the crew member sitting right beside them correct it at that moment? A song's final beauty relies heavily on the hands of sound recordist as well, you would say. Even if the music director creates a brilliant tune, the lyrics are profound, and the singer delivers an exceptional performance, the song only shines if the recordist captures the tune and balances it masterfully. Their role is incredibly important, you would say. You always spoke so highly of technical wizards behind the glass, specifically praising veterans like Swaminathan and Minu Karthik, who brilliantly recorded your Moodal Manu songs. Your immense love and profound respect for your peers as well as your predecessors, your seniors, was truly exemplary, Amma. You never permitted anyone to utter a single disparaging remark about another artist in your presence. Instead, you spent your time constantly appreciating their greatness. You loved P. Sushila's iconic Tamil songs composed by Viswanathan Ramurthy duo. You frequently praised Vani Jairam's Nani Nana and Malligai N. Mannan Mayangam. Ellarishwari's high energy spirited tracks. GK's Vadura Kannaya. You held a nostalgic affection for P. Leela and her old Telugu songs which defined your childhood. Likewise was your admiration for Balasaraswati's private songs. You admired Bhanumati's Enduke Nikinta Tondara, A.P. Komala's Padamule Chalunu Rama, and how can I forget your happiness when you would speak about S. Varalakshmi and her magnificent tracks in your childhood favorite movie, Balaraju. Your praise flowed continuously for the legends who stood alongside you, Ghantasala, T.M. Soundarajan, P.B. Srinivas, Rajkumar, K.J. Yesudas, S.P. Balasubramaniam, P. Jayachandran, Malaysia Vasudevan, Manu, and many other greats. And you would extend the exact same maternal warmth and love to the generations that followed you. Chitra, Sailaja, Swarnalata, Sujata, and her daughter. You were, at your core, a completely pure, ego free music lover. Whenever I sent you tracks by Mehdi Hassan or Noor Jahan, you would listen intently and exclaim, "Oh, look how beautifully they have sung this." I still vividly remember your immense joy on the day I sent you Farida Khanum's rendition of Aaj Janaki Zid Na Karo. In fact, you were the one who introduced me to Kishore Kumar's poignant track Kaise Kahe Hum. Later, whenever I would send you his melancholic sad melodies, you would marvel at his depth. Mukesh's voice in Main To Ek Khwaab Hoon was incredibly close to your heart. Or even Geeta Dutt's golden melodies were all your favorites. You would constantly praise Asha Bhosle's unmatched versatility. But your ultimate absolute favorites were Lata Mangeshkar and Muhammad Rafi. You constantly showered with adulation. You would listen to Lataji's vintage melodies with childlike wonder, and you would be absolutely happy and in your own world listening to anything Rafi Saab would sing. Hearing an artist of your stature praise others so selflessly was an incredibly profound thing to witness. Those beautiful conversations where you selflessly appreciate every single artist without a single shred of professional jealousy or pretense will forever ring in my ears. Beyond the world of commercial cinema playback, you possessed a deep, passionate interest in private, non-film music. Whenever I managed to track down and send you rare, forgotten private songs that you had recorded, you would react with pure playful delight, exclaiming, "Ah, look at that! Isn't that so beautiful?" It was undeniable. Music didn't just happen. Music didn't just flow through your career. It was woven directly into your veins, your nerves, and your very DNA. Look at how beautifully you rendered classical compositions. The 3 classical albums you released remain pure, unadulterated nectar. And all those countless devotional albums, they are collector's choice. You descended upon this earth solely for the sake of music. In your final days, even when illness wore you down and left you in immense physical pain, the physical suffering could never truly break your spirit. But on the days, if at all your voice struggled to strike a note perfectly or express a melody cleanly, you would become completely restless and deeply distressed. Where did you ever derive such an unparalleled, infinite devotion for your craft? It is a phenomenon that has never been seen before and will never be witnessed again. I always used to tell you are an incredibly good human being, but the singer inside you is even greater. Later, once I corrected myself and told you, no, Amma, the human being in you is actually far greater than anything I had ever seen. Hearing that, you smiled and said, thank you. Whenever you would say that only the singer in me was great, it made me feel a bit lost, as if the human being didn't matter and my songs alone were enough. But today, you are no longer with us, Amma. Only your immortal songs remain behind. The echoing void created by your absence hits me with a sharp, agonizing clarity. If the cycle of births and rebirths is really true, I pray, I sincerely pray, you receive the ultimate liberation that you always yearned for and you get no birth again. I pray that your soul achieves complete salvation, Mukthi, Sadgathi, and again that you never have to take another birth on this earth again. Om Shanti.
वीडियोस बनाने हैं फिल्मोरा है ना।